We do want a confirmation that she's going to vote against the supplemental in September.
Okay, I can
That's
send that message up.
the main purpose of this
Okay.
visit, and I think Diane also wanted to add, some of us were down in Washington yesterday at Conyers' office,
Right.
so I think Diane had something else to add
What
on
else?
impeachment.
Well, two things before we turn to impeachment. I also am curious and concerned, and I'm a Baltimorean and a native Marylander, and I am so concerned that Senator Mikulski is prioritizing receiving money from military companies based in Maryland here, the largest profit-making companies in the world who profit from death and destruction. And that is her priority rather than the will of the people. And I, too, can't believe that our Democratic senator is doing this. Along with that, of course, is the issue of impeachment. If there is a time that two people should be impeached, Bush and Cheney, this is now. Mm-hmm. And like Cindy, I'm wondering this about the senator. Why isn't she up in front on this issue? Mm-hmm. It boggles the mind. She's so bright, and she's been such a strong, fearless leader over the years. It's a big concern.
I have not heard her talk about impeachment.
That's why I'm concerned.
I would like to,
Sure.
I've been reading this book. I know there are a lot of books out there about the war. This is a Washington Post correspondent who was in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And it deals with the initial post-war management. And basically, people had to have voted for Bush, been in an election, or had the right vote stance against Roe versus Wade. That seemed to be the qualification for someone to manage the Ministry of Interior or Ministry of Industry or whatever. And then, I mean, it's a well-documented fact.
You mean in Iraq?
In Iraq, in the development.
Well, it's a standard they used here too.
And yeah, yes. And with FEMA, the latest thing on FEMA that's documented about the chemical hazardous chemicals in these trailers. So
malfeasance on the largest scale.
So I mean, we see this. This is one reason.
She talks about the
violation.
failure of government. And to provide what the American people have come to expect from a competent, efficient government with the right goals and objectives, which is care for the American people in the way that is appropriate. Katrina was.
And that alone is enough reason for impeachment.
Does she draw the lines?
Do we see this changing? We hope that all these things, the beautiful Iraq with power, maybe more than 3 or 2 hours a day, and enter the global economy, But how is it possible to privatize industry when everybody's been unemployed? And now we find out they're with the insurgency or resistance. People that are unemployed may get a little angry about this. So we know these basic facts. And how? Please, a question I want the senator or our Congress to address. How is any Iraqi government going to support this oil legislation? What leadership of Iraq is going to say, we're going to take 30% of our sovereign resources and the rest can go to international companies? Any leader, any Iraqi administration will be, how long are they going to survive? I mean, so, and then I was just talking with Bill. I mean, it seems like we don't stop him now. I mean, already we see they don't have enough people to run the setup to help govern Iraq. How are they going to do this in Iran?
Good point. Afghanistan falling apart.
I was a veteran in Vietnam, and I can say, despite the craziness of that war, I mean, being in there seemed to be some kind of management. I was in Saigon. I worked with the 7th Air Force.
Management on the part of?
Management part of the Pentagon and the care of our troops. Mm-hmm. Terry Gross showed today apparently had something about 800 women being on the street and homeless, veterans, and we know the director of the Veterans Administration has left. Mm-hmm. I mean, we see.
We saw the debacle at Walter Reed.
Right. Yeah.
That's when we were.
An uncaring administration. Seems to have no...
We have no disagreement with you on that. None.
She has continued to vote money for it.
She will not take money away from the fighting forces and their families.
They have never had enough supplies. They never will. Get them out of there. That is the only way to make them safe.
She has made her decision.
Her decision is
Well,
wrong. She has to quit
Well,
giving more
she-
money to a
and you
disaster.
certainly have a right to believe that, but she also has made her decision based on the evidence that she has. It's not a thoughtless decision, it's very carefully considered, and given the information that she has, this is the decision she made.
This office knows the shoulders have never had the supplies they were promised. They never
Of course,
have, they
of course.
never will.
We know that.
It is never going to work right, not that, of course, we want it to work right. We don't want a
but she
war
feels strongly
done
that
right,
not-
we want it ended.
Not
Well, it's not
providing,
just the troops over there, it's also the families left behind of these troops. It's health care for the families.
And
It's-
none of that has been supplied like it should have either, and you know that.
But that
Bush is
doesn't-
never going to do that.
But-
Get
but-
rid of him,
but
end
doing
his
it-
war and get rid of him.
Not a problem.
We recognize
Yes, it is a problem.
that we're on the same page on
Right.
98% of
Right.
these matters
Right,
that we
we are.
discussed here.
right.
So we wouldn't be here if we didn't think Barbara could change her mind. And that's why we
And
keep
you,
coming back.
and you should continue to bring to her attention things that are especially important to you and ask her to change her mind. That's
Right,
the process.
and that's why we're here.
And you should
what
be
she
here.
could do to rebuff this Bush administration, the best thing, in my opinion, I can't speak for the whole group, but in my opinion, the best thing she could do, come September, vote against the supplemental. And that will say, we're not doing this business as usual anymore. We're not going to allow these incompetent people. We're not going to allow, what Dave was talking about was actually on Talk of the Nation, all these poor women that have been abused in the military, as Dave said, 800.
Oh, well, there's been no greater champion of women in the military than Barbara
Exactly,
Mikulski.
and Barbara has spoken out very, very much on what the scandal at Walter Reed, but that group over there is not listening. The only way they're going to listen is if you cut off the funding. You cut the funding off, Bush has to make a fool of himself again and veto it, and then the Democrats are going to say, that's it, we offered you an opportunity to bring the troops home safely, surely, and so,
I think that there is some thought that September is a watershed.
absolutely,
It is
right.
It's coming.
indeed.
And
It's
the money in the previous supplementals haven't even got to the troops yet. And the money in this September one is not going to the troops. We're hoping those troops are going to be home in whatever timeline. As you know, at the debate yesterday, they're debating how long is it going to take you to bring the troops home. Both the Post and the Sun had extensive coverage on the front pages of how long it's, nobody really knows how long it will take. But we
Right.
as peace activists want to start the process.
Sure.
We're being over there, we're causing all kinds of mayhem, destruction,
Yeah, we are.
and we're not supporting the troops. We're not.